Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ryan with From Corners Unknown. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to our Artist Conversation series, and in this episode, I speak with Goshen. Goshen is a difficult band for me to describe insofar that they smash so many different genres together. It kind of creates this overwhelming furnace blast of an onslaught of noise. You can definitely cite a handful of mathcore tendrils seeping into their sound, but there's so much more to this sweltering amalgamation of chaos. You get passages of guitar-driven noise, punk, hardcore screamo, and even a handful of other genres I can't even ascertain or really wrap my head around whilst listening to their music. But beyond me fumbling to try to describe this band to all of you, I recently put out their self-titled EP on cassette, and I thought this conversation would be a nice way to illuminate the artists behind the music. I speak with the entire band, Kyle, Joseph, Jake, and Mitch, and we go into detail on how the band formulated and also discuss a number of their influences, and we actually take a pretty interesting dive into the writing process and how honestly chaotic it is, and how that kind of all funnels into the sound that they have chiseled away at for a good while now. Just after my rambling introduction, I will play for you folks a track off of their self-titled EP entitled Cave, and to close the conversation, I will also play a track off that EP titled Man of Gauze. And if you like the sound of Goshen, what you hear, you can get a digital copy of their self-titled EP for free from my From Corners Unknown Records Bandcamp page, and if you want to snag a cassette, you can get those for pretty cheap, about $5. As always, thank you all for the continued support and your perpetual listening. I very much appreciate it, and thank you for any and all support you can give Goshen. I hope you folks enjoy the conversation. I'm interested in kind of how the band formulated, and just kind of the, how you guys all got together. And
Well, I've known this guy for a long time, since I was like a little kid.
We were like in 4th grade, I think.
Yeah. And like we've always liked more or less the same type of music.
Sure.
And when we were in high school, we were both in different bands, and that band I had was with our old bass player and one of our old buddies, and that was called Mr. Orange, and that was more straight up like not like cathartic, foggy, noisy ass music.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still chaotic, but not in the down-tuned sense of how Goshen sounds.
Okay.
That broke up, and then everyone in that band's just basically a piece of shit, so we don't talk to them.
I see.
And so like I took those songs because I more or less structured most of them and like gave the ideas and wrote most of them. And then I took those songs, and our old bass player, we kept playing them for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we asked him to start playing guitar for us.
Okay.
And that's how Goshen more or less started.
We just kind of we just kind of like reformed whatever they already had, and kind of made it our own thing, and tuned our shit in a weird way, and just kind of like spitballed after that whenever we'd start writing. And I think the songs we started writing after that were just like more in tune with what we feel now. And then we had Kyle.
Those were the demo ones.
Yeah, that's everything. The demo was like our early material. That was like essentially Mr. Orange, except for Cave. That was the only one that wasn't Mr. Orange.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
We just took the songs that I wanted to keep playing, and then rewrote them for how we started to sound once we reformed a different band.
They don't really sound anything the same
They sound
anymore.
completely different.
They're actually on Bandcamp. Mr. Orange still has the Bandcamp.
Oh, really?
There's a version of Terminal that's still up there. Yeah,
I think Terminal's like a minute long on that thing.
Yeah.
No, interesting. Yeah.
It's like half that.
It's like 19 seconds.
Our short sell song.
And then we had Kyle on board. Before we did that, it was like our old friend Athena who was doing vocals, and she wrote lyrics for like the first few songs. And then after that, we just like, I guess, Kyle, he's always kind of been a really good friend of ours, and like he'd go to the practices and shit.
Sure.
And just be like, dude, just be our fucking vocalist. Like,
and she wasn't panning out too well.
Yeah.
And so we asked him to jump on, and then we rewrote like all the lyrics and everything. And then since he joined, everything has been more or less just completely constructive as a whole new band instead of working on old shit.
Yeah. I see. And was that did she depart? I assume that, did you even get any recordings done with hers, the vocals, or was it more just like live shows and such?
We didn't even get to live shows.
Yeah, so. She struggled with like how to pattern her vocals over the music.
Oh, okay.
Which is like pretty rough to do on these songs. Like I struggle with that a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like,
could you explain? Could you explain to? I'm a bit of a scrub when it comes to understanding all the vernacular and terminology of how the stuff works.
The way that all the riffs and drum patterns tend to be like pretty rough genre, counting wise, or chop off real quick and starting with something that has nothing to do with the riff. Yeah. So when you're like, you'll have lyrics written out, and then you go to structure them over top of this, and it's like, oof, you know what I mean? Like this doesn't flow as well as it could, so you end up chopping everything up.
Okay.
A lot of times you'll see me like hold things out for as long as I can. You know what I mean? Like over entire bars.
We've written songs, and he's been sitting there, and he just like looks at us, and we're like, "What?" And he's like, "How do you expect me to put vocals over that?" He was like, "What even is that count? Who am I supposed to follow?"
Fucking look at, like, yeah. You did a really good job doing it.
And they count and everything. They'll be looking at each other, counting their beats, and this is in whatever time. But I don't, you know what I mean? So us playing more mathcore style shit, I just listen. I just know the songs front to back and know when this part's about to come. I just feel it more or less instead of being like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then start. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just kind of am looking at them and going, which works out for me better. So.
And you were not to go too deep into your other project. So were you? So you have Misery Ritual as well, and so you started in this band a bit after that, or what was the timeline on those?
This is my most recent thing. I was in I was in a band called Skin Slip like 3 years ago that we played sludge, and it's pretty like dumb, ignorant, hateful shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was like just depressive sludge. I played guitar and screamed, and like we had a lot of parts. It was like just feedback and me screaming, and so when we broke up, I just fell into still needing the outlet, and so I did Misery Ritual. You know what I mean? I've been doing that for like 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, they asked me to join in, on Goshen. I was like, absolutely. You know what I mean? So I've just been trying to keep that project going solo, and then this is my group thing.
Right.
It's good to have that balance of like different environments.
Yeah.
Of making and collaborating with people.
Because we like to touch in on like noisy parts in this band, but never like dive too full into, oh, this is a noise track. You know what I mean? Like I try and keep it separate.
Right.
You know what I mean? Never overwhelm the song parts.
Yeah. Plus, I'm a big baby when it comes to writing songs sometimes. So
yeah, this guy's a control.
I get very like control-y and like. I don't know. If something happens and I don't like it or it sounds too much like something else, will straight up like shut down and act like a child.
Nope. Yeah.
I'm such a
we
brat.
gone into like we had so many riffs. Like I would throw a couple riffs out and then like we'd be down with it, and then after like the next practice, Joe's like, what if we like took that and fucking put it over like and just switched around and you tuned something down and like
do it completely.
And I'm just like
I like that riff, but let's do it completely different.
Yeah, so it's like a whole puzzle for us all to get to go into the writing process. But like, it's kind of cool. Like it's not like we think too hard about it. It's just like, yeah, that would make me fucking shit my pants way more if you did this.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
Nobody would expect this part to happen next. Let's do it.
I do that with like a lot of the riffs though. Like not to say like
play Jenga with them.
Like I like Jake will come up with like a riff. And more than like maybe 8 out of 10 times, I like try and reorder it or reorganize it, and like I'll place like numbers on certain beats and stuff, and like reorganize it that way, like a puzzle piece.
Sure.
Yeah, it's kind of it's really cool that way though. Like it's cool to have like everyone touch on what can come out. Like the source material. Like the source material is never just the final product of it. And that's what I kind of like about our process is that we just kind of like come out with something, like I'll have a riff, or like our old bass player would like have something, or he'll have like a beat, and then we're like, okay, let's like change this up, let's fucking mangle this and see what, you can do this, and Kyle will put this over it, and it's just like, it just comes out as this like abomination.
Yeah.
Like
more than half the time we write a song, and then by the time we're done actually writing it, it's a completely different song than the first draft. Like it doesn't sound anything near what it sounded like.
And even
it just gets more and more complicated.
Even for the EP, like when we were about to record it, we're rehearsing for the songs, making sure we can go in and try and one take it if we can. We where we had them down, and we were even at that point tweaking parts. Like,
really?
Cut this part out. You know what I mean? Like right up until we were about to record, we were even switching stuff around. You know what I mean? So
interesting. Were there any weird like spur of the moment changes in the studio when you went to record this? Like, did you tweak anything as you're like, oh shit, this sounds a little better if I tweak it in this way or something like that?
There was something on Man of Gauze, the ending.
Oh yeah.
That one, the riff that's just like the ending riff, like the more slanty riff, the and like the damn. We would, for a while when we were playing that live, we would just keep rolling out that riff for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And with that, and we would just kind of noise over it. Rolly, Bright Light Studios, when we were kind of going with it, we're like kind of a little iffy, and like this is why we love Rolly, because Rolly can totally like point that out, and he's just like, dude, like really he's so great when it comes to like communicating with bands. We were like she could tell we were unsure about ending on that riff. And he's just like, we're just like, what if we just like completely blasted it away? Like, what if we just like kind of just noised out in general? We didn't have to keep that riff going. He's just like, dude, like the riff already happened. Like, it's time to go to space now. Just fucking blast that off. Like, that was the greatest quote from him. Like, the riff already happened. It's time to go to space.
And so now it just like ends on like that gnarly cymbal wash and just like overwhelm everything.
That was very last minute.
I want to say like we inspired him to say that because we talk about doing shit like that all the time. Like, I'm pretty sure he was like, like recording us, and he was like, "These guys go into the pedals so often; they're just out there." And so it's probably what he meant.
Yeah.
And I think also when we recorded, another change was we accidentally added a bar to Gab.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we accidentally played one part too long, and I didn't realize until after we stopped, and he was like, "So are we gonna keep that extra part?" I was like, "What are you talking about?"
It's pretty cool. I loved it.
We liked it. We liked it more, so we pretty much play it live that way now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We changed the way we play it live to fit the mistake on the recording.
It's just the blast beat part, and I think we play it 3 times, and on the third time, it's just the noise, and I'm still blasting. That part never was written into the song. That was the accident that happened when we recorded.
We love that ring out noise. You know what I mean? Though when the drums are driving behind something and everything else is just
right
in chaos. With the drum beat to ground it. I don't know. I love that shit.
It's fun.
Energetic, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, how was it overall recording going in and recording this? Because I listened to the demo, and I found it to be a pretty interesting. I mean, some of the songs on the demo are the ones on the EP as well, and kind of hearing how the mixing has changed and kind of the overall tone. I think even, and you could always call me on my shit, I feel like some of the the vocals, even the delivery of them definitely got a bit they just seemed to change and morph a bit more. Like you were talking about, kind of channeling that Admiral angry kind of vocal style. Yeah.
After not being in a band for so long, vocally getting used to doing things in lines and songs.
Right.
When we recorded the demo, I wasn't really used to doing that, but obviously up till recording the EP, we had all that practice in and going over the songs and all that. So I had my cardio better by then, but no, that demo was rough for me to record. By the end, I was coughing and hacking up stuff.
Really? Oh shit.
Healthy. Yeah.
And now the EP process, he was just one take Ferguson,
for most of it.
One take a lot of it.
Wow.
Yeah. But I also think it was very different in the fact that when we did the demo, we were still coming up off of the Mr. Orange reimagining kind of stuff.
Sure.
So we weren't really comfortable or sure of what our sound or whatever that was yet.
Right.
We were just starting to get way in. We had by the demo we had Gab written. That was probably the only new song that we really had.
Yeah.
We weren't really thinking about it. We just wanted to get something out. And then now when we have this EP, we had a way better idea of just who we were, of what we wanted to get out, what kind of stuff we wanted to say, what kind of shit that we wanted to just throw at each other. Right. It just felt a lot. I feel it felt way more natural because I remember the demo. We were retaking everything. We were going through 5 or 6 takes each time we would do a song.
Yeah.
And
and they would be different each time too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We would be trying other things there, trying to record in our buddy's garage. It was
the process of recording the demo to the EP is drastically different.
Yeah.
The demo was it was us just trying to finally get something out, and we were rushing to do it, and we had to retake everything multiple times. And like they said, every time we did it, it sounded differently. It was a shit show. You know what I mean?
It was kind of us trying to record. Oh, we have our 4 songs. Let's record these. As opposed to when we went in for the EP, we wanted a group of songs that flowed well together as a release, rather than just whatever we have now. We want people to taste. You know what I mean?
Right.
In the demo, it's the EP is definitely how we sound, and the demo, even at that time, wasn't more or less what we sounded like live.
Yeah,
sure. It was just it was when we recorded the EP, everything was we walked in there, we knew what we were about, we knew what we were doing,
right?
And
just got to work on it.
Yeah, we did extra takes of the songs just to do them,
Oh, okay. So there was no real last minute scrambling or anything of the sort.
There was a hiccup here or a hiccup there, but I mean that just comes to playing music.
We would play through them 3 times well and be which one is the best of them? We were prepared, so that was a way more comfortable experience. And plus, we already complimented Raleigh. It was great work.
It was in Teeth. Check out Teeth.
Yeah,
great
death
metal band.
Teeth is hell of stuff.
Yeah, that's it's funny that we went into that so well because everything else with us is just a fucking mess usually. So it took a lot for us. it's hard. Like we never usually pat ourselves on the back for shit like that, but like we had to. We're like,
no, dude, we did it right.
We actually tried.
We got something done well.
Yeah,
we'll do something right when we play live, and I walk out of it always like, okay, so what did we mess up? And Kyle's like, what are you talking about? That sounded great. And I'm like, no, something was wrong.
Give yourself a break. Our music is basically stress. Like, and I feel like, based off of like comparisons and stuff that people have said, like, at least we get that across, you know, that it is like stressful. You know what I mean? We want everybody to be like anxious and like, you know, listening to it all like clenched up and not knowing like what happened, what turn's gonna come.
Well, I was trying to think just because it's such a because I recently re-listened to the demo and I just found it to be such an interesting just change in sound overall, or just kind of the progress between the two. But based on what you were telling me, it sounds like that like the demo wasn't necessarily representative of your sound. But I was trying to get at something like, you know, recording it then, and then how did you kind of come into that sound on the EP, if that makes sense? Like, how did you kind of whittle away at that and like the, you know, the progression you took to get there?
I think that like when you start writing new material after putting something out, it's always like, okay, like obviously nobody wants any steps backwards or, you know what I mean, lowering intensity, thing like that. And we already had Gab written. And so, you know, there's always like parts of new songs where you're like, oh shit, like this part we love so much. We love playing this new track. We love playing, you know, this new part.
Right.
And so then like you hold everything else new that you write up to that new standard. So as we were writing like the new songs, we're like, no, like we had Gab done after the demo. And so we're like, no, we're trying to have things on that level. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
So everything started trying to turn up to be on the level of the like Gab intro type, you know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
We were like holding things to a new standard as opposed to, oh, we've got all these song parts lying around.
Sure.
Now, okay, no, new bar. Everything has to be as good as intense as, you know what I mean?
Sure.
That too. We all will write something cool, and then we constantly will try to hit it. And if it doesn't hit, then we get kind of like pissed off.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If we play something,
it makes it sound better eventually.
If we play something like as a group and we're not all like headbanging, sweating, screaming it together in the garage like the same way that it would be live, just scrap it because it's not worth
really? Okay.
It takes us so long to write shit.
I mean, even cities off the demo had a whole intro part we used to play live. In our demo days, we had a whole intro on Cities.
Cities wasn't on the demo. Cities was on the demo.
Yeah, I know, but in the time of the demo, we had Cities written, and it had an intro on it that was more.
It was weird.
It wasn't soft, but after some of the other songs, it was just kind of a lowering in intensity and then build up at the end again. And so we decided to just remove that part. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We just want everything to streamline and not have any punches pulled at all.
Like Cities on the EP, it's half of what we've written it as.
Yeah.
We don't play the half anymore because it like you said, like we played it before, and it was we end the set usually with Cities, and we used to end it with the full Cities, but it like from the set that we played, it was a major drop off and then a build up, like you said.
Yeah.
Right.
And like the way we do it now is we just play Terminal and then a quick 4 count into the buildup of Cities that you hear on the EP.
Yeah.
And it just sounds a whole lot better. It's more cohesive.
There's no dragging.
Yeah, like we don't like to take breaks and give people a shot to breathe.
Right. That makes sense.
We like to run through it as quick as possible and die, and then pack up and let the next band.
Even the parts in Cave and Gab where it's more spacey and like the vocals go off in the distance, that type of stuff. I'm usually live at least wading through the crowd, like screaming on people, grabbing on them, hanging on their shoulders, that type of shit, climbing up on whatever's in the room. So it's not so much just like on the EP, it's like, oh, this part's kind of eerie, but live it's still just as grabbing. You know what I mean?
I guess, like you said, like if it's not something that we're directly feeling and it's not something that we can really use as a cathartic piece of just expression, then we don't want it. It's not like we're trying super hard to be like scary or anxiety inducing.
Sure.
Like, we have a lot of shit that we need to, like, really exercise. And if we're forcing ourselves to make this riff or to make this rhythm happen and it's just, like, not getting anything out of us, then we know that we're trying to force it too much. And, like, it gives us that reaction, that feeling of being, like, just claustrophobic or maybe even want the space for it. Then, like, then that's what we want to put, and that's what we want to put in our sets, want to bring to the people, like, that we just want to give them a show, give them something that, like, this is us, and this is, like, not just something that we're gonna put a collection together and be like, hey, you're gonna get some of this, hey, you're gonna get some, like, you know, just random shit just for the sake of giving it to them. It's just really
to the point.
Yeah, it's a package for all of us that we just put all of ourselves into. We want to just fucking
at the end of the day, like, we do this for ourselves, and if people like it, then they like it. So this is something that we have to do at this point. Yeah. It's like with him with Misery Ritual, that's his, like you said, like that's his escape. That's his, like, therapy that he does for himself. It's like, this is what we do, and it's like we're not going to go out of our way to do something emotive for anybody else. Like, this is for us. And if people like it, then you know, more power to you. Come see us. We like doing this.
And lucky enough that we found, like, a group of, you know, us that need the same type of therapy that we can do it together. You know what I mean? So that that's super lucky that especially, like, with the very specific thing we play, that we all are on board to do that very specific niche thing.
So I am curious too, and you can, again, this is just an observation because I'm only, you know, the only points of reference I have are the demo and the EP. But you know, on the EP, you definitely, I mean, I noticed more inclusions or integrations of noise, and is that something you brought into the mix? Like, did you bring that into the fold a little bit with your Misery Ritual project, or was that kind of something that everybody, like, you're all kind of like, you were all just like, oh, we want some noise things to kind of just like make it a little harsher overall?
I mean, I enjoy it, so I'm always pushing to have it there a little bit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I said before, I don't want that to ever overpower the parts of it that are music and songs.
And he said multiple times that he wanted to keep the noise of Misery Ritual separate from what we do.
Because that's my thing. That to me is, like, my personality is Misery Ritual. You know what I mean? So I don't want it.
Misery Ritual.
No, I don't want it. I don't want it.
I am Misery Ritual.
I don't want it.
I'm Misery Ritual.
No, I'm Spartacus. No, I don't want to just come into something and be like, okay, anyways, this is the way that I do everything is noise.
Right.
No, but I do know Jake fucks with a lot of electronic music too, and, like, obviously his pedal board's nutty as hell. Yeah. So we were getting a lot of interludes and shit like that were super spaced out, you know, harsh parts. You know, he's got, you know, a lot of, like, gnarly whammy parts, you know what I mean? Like, our songs had a bunch of noise things in them before as part of riffs. I think we just on the EP expanded it out into more like have the outros fuzz out into nothing, you know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
Intro that we always used live, we wanted to have it in the EP recording, you know what I mean?
A lot of communication goes into the noise parts.
Yeah, we try and make it precise. Yeah, only right here, and then we're gonna cut it. We want to focus on a lot of restraint on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I never want to overtake, and I'm worried about it.
Right. No, yeah, and it was just one of those things where it was more like after listening to the EP a handful of times and then listening to Gab or GAB, you know, like just kind of that whole minute long section, and I don't know if that's just pure, like, I don't know if you're actually using instruments in there, if that's just because like
that's all guitar.
See, this is how little I know about this shit. It's ridiculous. I'm just like,
any noise on the EP.
No,
all the noises on that is just Jake's pedal board.
Oh shit.
All that stuff is straight up like in the room.
We decided together like what we want to do, but no, that's all him. I do none of it.
No, that's what I want to say. It's like it's mostly a shared interest from all of us. Like Kyle has very like much influenced us when it comes to like bringing that noise aspect to us. Sure. But we've all appreciated extreme parts of music. I'm a huge fan of just like fucking around with sounds. Like I love a lot of electronic music. I like a lot of harsh noise stuff too. Like I like a lot of video game music. So like I just completely just blew off all my paychecks on just buying a bunch of stupid pedals. So like, I mean, I don't have to know what all of them do, but like when playing in this band, when we first started doing it, I just like knew I wanted to just I didn't just want to fucking play guitar. I wanted to
Right.
I want to all play just what we felt. And I think having all that shitstorm kind of sound on the pedal board just completely adds to the anxiety that we kind of try to express. And it's just fun, like seeing the random element come out of it too. Because if you have seen any of our shows, if you ever do get to see our shows, you'll see that a lot of the noisy shit that we do is like very like different from the last show that we did or the next show.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of free form to the shit we do live.
Yeah, and we've been even changing, like we'll play different songs or different order every time and shit like that, like
just to keep people on their toes a little bit.
That's always fun. Yeah. Mitch is our new bass player. He's been a homie for a while, and he's like starting to learn our whole approach to how we do all this shit. So it's like, it's a shit show.
We started teaching him, and I was like, literally the hardest part isn't the songs. It's just learning how to deal with us playing them.
Yeah, like, you don't have to do this. Like, this is really bad.
Like, we'll practice the song like 4 times through, and he's like, I think I got it. And he's like, now we'll play it how we play it live. And it's like 3 times as fast.
Oh, yeah. It's like Kyle made a point. He's like, okay, so these are the songs. Joe is going to play them 3 times as fast live because he's nervous.
We played Terminal. We played Terminal, and it was like 15 seconds before. You know?
Holy shit, really? My God.
We just run it, like
speed run.
Yeah, I freak out and do stuff dumb live.
Yeah.
How long did it take to get all these songs? I know some of the songs came from the demo, but you kind of reshaped, reworked them. But like, how long did it take you to get all 6 of these tracks lined out? And like generally, how long does it take for you to generate a single track, or for you to all be kind of
practice or not?
Yeah. So, sometimes we fall off. There's times where we're like just very productive, and there's been a few months where we just like get things out like in 2 weeks, and we would make like 3 songs in those 2 weeks.
Wow.
I want to say like Gab and Cave have been like a product of just like off and on changing and like developing, and we've started for a while, like probably even a year ago. Like stuff like Man of Gauze, there's been riffs laying around that we like would want to have, but we just kind of forget about it, or we would just like make it too complicated that we just didn't even want to touch it.
Right.
And
the song was actually too hard for us to play at first.
Yeah.
we wrote it, couldn't play it, and had to keep writing other songs so that we could come back to that one.
Jeez, man.
We like to fuck around with ourselves and just do stupid shit. But like, there's often times where we'd like fall out, we'd be busy, we'd have work, or we'd just be like just too like tired.
And then all of us had other projects too.
Yeah.
So
everyone's in other bands.
But like, it just depends. I mean, some of the, I think, Saboteur, shit, that's like the only one that's not Man of God's Cave. And like, Saboteur took like, I want to say like 2 days to finish, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Man of God's, when we actually got back on it,
it took no time.
That took like no time. We had everything we wanted.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we just have these bursts of like, hell yeah, we can just do this like nothing. We have a new song that we're working on.
Oh, nice.
We have songs.
Everyone's good days line up. We get shit done.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of like autonomy and like a lot of making sure that like all of us are aligned and we can get things productive. But that's not to say that if we're not aligned, we're not going to try. When we do try, when we're kind of just out of it, like we'll just kind of chip away at it, and it takes a bit longer for us to kind of get it down because all of us are in like completely different moods or wavelengths, and like usually we find ourselves back on each other's paths again, and like it works out as long as we're like willing to chip at it.
Yeah, and those parts where we're not all on the same like energetic level to where we can crack out a song, like that's usually where we'll end up with parts. You know what I mean? So Joe will have like a good drum part, and we're like, okay, we're gonna hold on to this for now. You know what I mean? And so we usually will end up with like a fridge full of guitar riffs, and you know what I mean. Pull one out when we're stumped, and be like, okay, what fits?
Right.
And we don't like piece them together just for the sake of piecing them together.
Yeah, sure. It's gotta work.
It's gotta mutate into its own thing where like we would just separate. Sometimes like 2 riffs would go together in the same day where we had the same energy, but we'd separate them and they'd end up becoming 2 different songs like 2 or 3 months from then, you know?
Yeah, there's been times where we're trying to work on songs and we get halfway through it and get kind of like stuck and be like, all right, what do we do next? And then he would write a riff and I'd be like, oh, that's tight, but it doesn't fit, but let's jam on that for a second. And we'll write that riff a whole fucking song.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the first thing we were even doing and be like, okay, no, we're taking this one to wherever it'll go.
It's like, fuck everything we just did. Let's do that.
No, like,
Sure.
And that's a thing too that I think comes with noise and a lot of chaotic things is sometimes if you have inspiration, you just got to follow that wherever it'll end up song wise.
Right.
You can't just get too stuck on what you imagine the song ending up as. You got to fuck with parts and find something that would be the thing that you don't know you were looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's at least how we do it.
None of our songs we pictured exactly that way and then wrote them. You know what I mean?
Sure, that makes sense.
Weird thing, and then we mutated it and fucked with this part and changed the intro and changed the outro.
Especially being in a band.
Everybody has
if
parts.
You're on your own, like there's different workflows for different people, but like being in a band, it's not going to come out exactly how like one person imagines. Like that's the beauty of it. We all kind of like we were saying earlier on, like we just mangle it. The source material is never the same, so we're just gonna like. Based on what we feel and what we feel as a group, I think that's the coolest shit. Just to be able to take that somewhere else together. So.
Sure. And do you see like any are there certain areas? And I know you like there's probably like an infinite spectrum of things you can include in your sound, but are there certain things going forward in your mind that you're thinking of like incorporating or trying to like integrate into your sound more to kind of flesh out like your just like your overall tone and such? Like are there certain areas you're like, oh, I want to incorporate? I mean, I can't think of anything because I'm not well versed in this shit, but you know what I mean, like
Subway Vampire.
We always come up with
dumb as shit.
Yeah, we'll always be hanging out, just like talking gibberish to each other, just saying like dumb random shit, and then run with it. You know what I mean? And like a lot of the times we'll take it off. I'll write lyrics even off of them. Sometimes use it as a writing prompt. You know what I mean? But no,
we have an electronic song that we made and that we played live for our intros called Subway Vampires.
And oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude, like the Blood Club from Blade, but yeah, it's like kind of techno-y and like
we just noise it out.
Oh yeah.
But like we
use it as an intro.
We're pretty I mean I want to say we're pretty open with different music elements. There's some things like I know that we just probably wouldn't do, like we wouldn't come out and just incorporate like down-tempo pop elements or whatever.
Right, of course, yes.
It wouldn't make anything a prominent change in our genre. Like,
sure,
we wouldn't just go full-on electro pop or some shit like that, which is like fucking cool. But I mean, like, it would be fucking cool.
A touch of other things is sick though. Like, I'm never upset when a band does some like, oh, this band plays black metal. But if a band that does something else is doing it blackened, I'm like, oh hell yeah. There's little touches of a little bit of everything. I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. You know, we're trying to just blend more, and the things that we are blending already, we want to have it be more in that direction. You know what I mean? We're trying to have our genre be a full circle instead of a bunch of little points coming out.
Right.
You know what I mean? We want to overtake all of it.
Yeah. Oh no, just like elements of like what we would incorporate anything different
in the future.
Yeah.
Like going forward, like we want more heavy parts. We want more scrams parts.
Oh, more goth interludes for sure.
Definitely more goth interludes.
Oh yeah.
Lots of reverb.
Hella reverb.
We have a release coming out that has that Subway Vampire song on it, and it's literally just the Blood Club from Blade, but like just noised out.
Yeah.
But it's just techno. It's like a minute and a half of techno.
Well, like, and like that sounds odd, but the way that we have it with other tracks, I swear it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
interesting.
It
works out somehow. Like I don't get it, but I think it's cool.
You're gonna have to just trust us and see.
That's great. So how about the like the just kind of the lyrical writing process and for each of you, because I know you're like you do the lyrics, but like how does it, just as the band as a whole, like, how do you just go about writing lyrics, and like what is it you're usually trying to channel or wrangle with, or what you're trying to articulate?
So I think as of right now, me, Jake, and Joe have all contributed lyrics to the songs that are recorded.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, we all write lyrics. Like some of the songs are, I think you wrote Gab, right?
Yeah.
And then he's written a majority of them, and I think I've written 2 or 3.
You did Terminal, Cities. We ended up, like I said earlier, chopping like the intro of Cities off, but Cities was like a thing.
Yeah, it's like originally like I had lyrics to almost all of the songs, minus the new ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when he showed up, he asked me,
them.
he asked if he could do like the lyrics and stuff too. And I was like, you could rewrite whatever you want. It's your job now.
So I had some things for myself. Sometimes we'll have like Cave. I wrote the lyrics for Cave, and they had named the song that already because of the way that it sounded and the way that they felt playing it. And so I just kind of took it as a writing prompt of being overwhelmed, you know what I mean? Like seeing everything around you and being overwhelmed and like retreating to like kind of your safe haven, you know what I mean?
Sure,
and myself, obviously that's like a healthy thing to do sometimes, but like taking it too far is like, you end up not being able to connect socially. And so like, I'll take a one word like, oh, this song sounds like we're in an echoey cave, and I'll just run with it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a personal thing for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I think Gab we had named before the lyrics.
That was that's not his dream.
Yeah, I had a dream that GAB stands for like a completely stupid thing. And like, I'm not sure if we want to tell everyone.
No.
That's fine. I won't pry. I promise.
It's an inside joke. Yeah.
But like, I had a dream that like what Gab stands for came to me, and he texted me what that was about. But like, just like like the name definitely resembles like just the feeling of isolation in space. Like I was imagining like it's about being in space, but like a lot of our lyricism has to do with like self struggle and a lot of like just really fucked up like inner battles. And like I guess that song was more that song was more so about I guess the fear of taking your own life and realizing that like everything that you harnessed in like your contempt for yourself, like your hatred of yourself, like the really fucked up tar feeling just completely becomes your body when you take your own life, and you are just forced to blast through space as this like fucked up energy, and that's all you'll ever know, and you'll just be condemned, and you're trapped in space like flying through it.
Sounds like a David
So it's just
living
like,
in it.
Yeah, so it does sound like
but
just a lot of it's just really weird ideas that we have that are they almost always stem from like our inner like just weird weird views of our fucked up warped views of ourselves.
It's usually like some kind of like mental issue or mental struggle and then a reference, and so like we'll write something personal to ourselves off of like the name reference, Managaz I wrote off of the name.
That's a Courage the Cowardly Dog.
That's not off of the joke because they like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
That's great. I would have never figured that one.
King Ramsey.
But like you can have Courage the Cowardly Dog with a mummy asking for his slab back, but then when Man of Gauze, for me, when I wrote it, carrying like all the hurt that you've experienced through your life or that you put yourself through.
Right.
And a lot of times, like, you feel like you can't share that shit with people, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that it's not there. And a lot of times, like, you let shit slip or you'll say things that reveal too much to people that, and it's like they're seeing the wounds show up through everything that you're trying to cover.
Sure.
And so that's pretty much where I took that, but it was off of a Courage the Cowardly Dog joke. You know what I mean? Like we were just all fucking around in the garage talking about Courage the Cowardly Dog and Return the Slab, and then I was like, dude, that's a tight name. Hold on. You know what I mean? Like
so there's a lot of blend of us just really just not taking anything seriously at all, like, and then
being way too serious,
and then way too fucking like to the point where it's like almost like edgy, and it's just like all of us we're just weird storms of like fucked up humor, and then just like we're like this. Maybe it's like a defense mechanism or something like that. But we're very used to being on all extremes of certain emotional spectrums, like
just
whether it be
manic.
We're very exactly. We're all just either like super stoked on something, or we're like fucking crazy and speaking like gibberish and inside jokes to each other, or we're just like really sad or we're really angry at something, or it's weird. There's no in between.
Everything's at 100 usually.
Interesting. So is it the case then? So it sounds like it's a pretty dynamic, off the cuff kind of writing process. Do the lyrics generally come after kind of the riffs and everything, or do you kind of like just like as you described, like mangle it all together? Like do you kind of just do a little like it kind of differs song by song and such, or like what's the
like you go song by song. I think like some of the songs like we never stop writing lyrics. Like there's always lyrics floating in the group chat and stuff.
Okay.
Like we just wrote we have a new song that we wrote that I think we played live like once or twice so far.
a name.
Yeah, it doesn't even have a name yet, but like I think we pasted some old lyrics that I wrote onto that song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just found scraps laying around and I was like, dude, this is good. Like we're using
and
this.
then so Kyle's reworking those lyrics into the song.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes we'll write a song and then as we're writing it, Kyle will sit there and
they'll have like a
writing
working
lyrics
title.
to it. Yeah.
A working title for the song, like I said, Cave. They're like, okay, write something to do with that or whatever else. Sometimes there'll be pre-written stuff that I'll have to chop up so that it'll fit over the music, and other times I'll write it like as it's going on.
Okay.
Or they'll be writing a part, and I'll be like, okay, stop. I want to have something yelled right there, and I'll jot some, and I'll have like. I usually have a bunch of like single lines floating through my brain, and then I build off of like a single thing. I start from the song and go out, or start from the end and work towards the beginning.
You just kind of like is like an operating system writing lyrics.
Yeah, I start from wherever. Plug them in wherever they fit. And the other thing too is we change music so often. Yeah. That sometimes, like even with that new song, I had laid out lyrics over the song, and then I missed a practice and came back to the practice afterwards, and the song was the same. And I was like, well, we're playing it tomorrow, so let me get to work on setting.
He was so mad.
Yeah, and I was like, let me reorder all these lyrics. So I had to do some quick restructuring of lines and all that. But yeah, it's fun. It makes everything feel, I think, extra chaotic when we do it like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like not even us know where they're going until it's done.
Sure. And how does it usually end up falling out? Like when you go up on stage and start. Or like you just go to some venue and you start playing this, like how does it all kind of unfurl? Like is it?
Oh well, yeah, I know. Like we get anxious.
Sure. And
so like right as we're like about to go, it's like we're pacing and our hands are, it's one of those like, hey, like we're like ready to go, and we do our like our fog machine.
Generally, we have a fog machine.
I like to play like tiny spots, and bring our fog machine and like fog it out to where it's really, really hard to see in one light of drums. You know what I mean?
There's one light under me, and then the entire room's fogged out. All the lights are off.
And just have it be like this is like the chaos room. You know what I mean? Like if you're here, you're in our brains. You know what I mean? Like
we try to make it most at home for us.
Your visuals, you can't trust. The sounds are overwhelming. You know what I mean? I'm flailing around and tackling you. You know what I mean? Like if you're there with us,
like scary farm maze.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we're on some spooky level, but no. But yeah, no. It's I don't know. I love that. It feels it helps me get in like a dissociative state. You know what I mean? When you're able to take yourself more out of it, to where I don't have to worry about I'm a person. Do I have enough air to hold this line? No, fog out. Everything's fuzzy. My whole body goes numb, and it's like, no, I'm just doing it. You know what I mean? Like, nothing exists until we start, then nothing exists until we stop.
Yeah, we kind of like more or less. I think almost all of us do that.
It's like blackout.
It's like because he's pacing, and it always ends up with Jake speeding out and standing there with his hair like in his face, and he's just hung down with everything just like noised out, just kind of like standing there like a night-looking man. Mm-hmm. And then this guy ends up pacing around and gets on the floor and like grabs onto my drums and looks at me, and at that time I'm already like rocking back and forth,
throwing cymbal stands.
Yeah, like we just try to get into like the mode of like, all right, guys, this is why we do it.
Yeah,
let's get it.
And it's even cooler, like the fact that none of us can really see each other.
Yeah, like literally.
The communication is gone, because like it's just fogged out. So it's all just everybody doing their best to hold it together.
And it's like we're like in our own personal like story, and like we're just kind of like the only way we can really communicate it is like through the sounds that we're making, and like it's literally just like in our like trying to find where the fuck we're at, and like that's like I mean sometimes it's like it's really fucking cool, but sometimes it's like fucked up. But like most of the time it's just like it's really cool knowing that we can get back on track with each other with our sounds, but that visual and physical aspect of just being separated from like fog and just like even in our own heads, like it's just crazy how that all still comes together. Sure. And we all still can like.
Plus, then I don't have to look at anybody in the face.
That's an amazing element of that.
Yeah, I like that. I'm not trying to look at anybody.
How's the are there any like notable moments or any like pretty funny or like really like just like funny things that have happened at like a show or like in that kind of setting?
Apparently someone walked off when we played at this house show and they vomited or something like that, or
Jesus.
Or no. They walked out because like the fog was just too much and they were like just really pissed off.
There was a lot of
Dude,
fog.
oh yeah, no, like some, like absolutely. When we play the Void, it's a punk house in San Bernardino, and it, like they would play in the living room, and we'll fog it out. But the first time we did, and it was too much. And the next day, my shirt was sticky from the night before, from like fog juice, and like I smelled it and got a headache, and I was like, "This is gnarly." Like, people can't breathe in there. But no, usually I'm outside throwing up after our set, so that's like
we got banned from a bar.
Oh yeah, we
did get banned from a bar.
Oh my god. They told us that if we were playing too loud and people could hear us from outside, then we weren't making money on drink sales. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So we played, and she was like, if you guys don't stop, we're gonna call the police.
Cops,
What?
Like, all right, well, we have a song left, so we'll be done. You know what I mean? So yeah, we just played our shit and then left.
What else happened?
Yeah. What's another one?
I threw a cymbal stand once and it broke, but that's like a never.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I punched a wall.
Dude, I don't know.
I drank a beer.
He drank a beer.
Yeah.
Drink the beers.
Yeah, I don't know if anything like that.
Nothing crazy. Yeah.
Nothing super wild.
People, the people tend to feel it. I mean, like other than like some shows where people are just really just staring at us.
Yeah.
Not really like moving, but like a lot of shows people are feeling it too, and like that's good. No one's ever really like, besides that bar incident, nothing funny or crazy has really happened. It's just like we did our thing. We played in front of homies, or like we just we played to nobody or whatever, like or played to a lot of good people, and it's just that's what it was.
Yeah.
The bar thing was the funniest one though.
That does sound that sounds strange that they would tell you if people outside can hear it, then that's like I don't know, that just sounds like such a weird
Yeah,
measure.
that was the reason.
Get it.
That was the reason for us to turn down, and she was like, they can hear you from outside, they're not going to come in and buy drinks. So I was like, nobody's buying your drinks. I don't know. I was.
It's like the bar was lined with like punk kids too, so I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I was tripping.
They were on a main street. Like, it wasn't like in a residential area.
It's
like
fine.
off a main street.
No big deal. We won't be back.
So what about speaking to?
I ain't tripping.
So how about with respect to, some of the like the musical influences and such that you may draw from or take some inspiration from, like what kind of funnels or fuels some of the sounds that you
That's a whole can of worms, my dude.
So yeah, like we do try and blend like a bunch of different genres, and I know that like on our own Bandcamp, we tag some ridiculous shit. You know what I mean? Just but like it's all included. You know what I mean? Like obviously there's like some heavy hardcore like mosh parts. You know what I mean? We have a couple. We've got some scrams parts. We've got like I feel like there's a part.
Angry fucking.
Yeah. Like I always want to bring in like my own vocal influences. You know what I mean?
Could you describe for me a quick the scrams thing? I know I should know that, but I'm kind of inept with some of this stuff.
Early screamo. Screamo band.
Yeah,
This is the more of the independent screamo. Like
I wrote haikus about cannibalism and shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm looking on your EP post, and I just realized the tag. You said 103-degree garage metal. I was like, oh, that seems perfect.
Yeah, because we practice in my garage, and that motherfucker gets hot.
Yeah, it's a death trap.
Breaking all the time.
We try and bring like a bunch of parts in, and like genre-wise, like I know Joe listens to like a shit ton of botch, which I'm. Can hear in there, the Chariot, and then even like him listening to the Chariot all the time. Like I feel like I try and bring in some of that vocal influence as well. Vocally, you know what I mean. As far as like we get lots of like Converge Gaza comparisons and shit like that.
Yeah, we've been compared to Converge a few times, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Lots of like,
but that's tight.
Dark hardcore, a little bit mathy. You know what I mean? A little bit crusty, a little bit grimy.
Even like shoegaze stuff too. Like I do like. I know a lot of us like that really airy atmosphere kind of sound too. So
Yeah.
That's another thing that we can incorporate into it too.
Yeah.
And then we like a lot of like groovy two-step parts too, so we'll incorporate whatever comes from that.
Sure. And then even noise acts and power electronics and shit. You know what I mean? Like we draw in so much. You know what I mean?
As far as like musical like influences go, like band wise, that like influence me on how we write stuff. Like specific bands would be like Seizures, who is local.
Okay.
Like the core band out here.
So good.
Yeah, and then probably like Idols from Australia, those guys, and like Bob the Cherry and shit, like he was saying, like Full of Hell definitely too. Yeah. Just like a lot of that stuff is what like Full of Hell specifically is what made me start wanting to write faster when I was in Mr. Orange.
Okay.
And that was driving forces for the original songs was that band. And so like after that all like and then I like got super just way into just hell and nothing but screamo and math. Yeah. And then after that is like that's around the time Kyle came into the band and I was like, all right, here's the idea. Let's rip off all these bands.
And then like I listen to like a bunch of heavy ass shit, to doom, sludge, like I said, my old sludge band, you know. So like I feel like when I join, I'm always trying to attempt to be like, hold this heavy part just a touch longer. Trust me, you know what I mean? Like, people will dig it. We want to hold in, you know, like keep the slow down heaviness as well too. We tune down so low that when we play, you know what I mean? When we get that chug, that open chug going,
Sorry, Mitch,
you know what I mean?
Mitch isn't happy about how low we tune. He had to like buy strings and shit for it. He never bought strings before or something.
Never bought strings in my life. Never had to.
I think that's so weird.
How did you never buy strings before? I played in a punk band. I didn't have to buy strings. I played in standard. We didn't play in drop fucking beat.
Fucking like OG and B-Bigs. You just did tune your fucking instruments for like 2 years.
And that's the thing too. Yeah, is now Mitch in our band bringing in like more like punk influence as well, because like he played in a punk band, Grimly Forming, before.
Yeah, lots of good bands too. Yeah, like I want to say for my influences, like it ranges from like a lot of the atmosphere kind of parts. I like a lot of ambient music. I like a lot of dark ambient.
Okay, interesting.
Outback song, GameCube music.
Oh yeah. I like a lot of darker shit. I also like a lot of like Old Man Gloom.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just heavy, fucked up, like dissonant riff kind of shit. Like I also like stuff like Terra Mellos with people and guitar players who don't really use their guitars like guitars. I like a lot of like Mars Volta. I like incorporating all that bullshit into it.
Sure.
Yeah, Sigaros. Oh yeah. Like just a lot of like just really weird electronic stuff. Fucking Igor or like Igloo Ghost or stuff like that. Because like a lot of it has to do with like sound design elements and like just throwing different sounds at walls and seeing how it goes and like improvising atmosphere and tension and shit like that.
Right.
So it goes from I guess my spectrum goes from that to just like really fucked up shit like car bomb riffs or like you know, something out as long as you can possibly before it fizzles out and just disintegrates. And I love that. I love playing guitar like it's like a more percussion or percussion kind of element, because like I love hitting something at the same time as Joe does. Like like me and Joe, whenever we're jamming on something, we always try and like get those fucking hits in.
Yeah, I try to play with him as much as possible.
We like stuff that just all comes together as like one punch in your gut or like wherever you want to be punched, whatever's cool. I don't know, but it's like
whatever your kink
is. In the ankle, we're gonna hit you in the ankle with the scooter.
Ankles, please, babe.
You're gonna get hit in the ankle with the scooter.
But yeah, no, it's just we can go on and on about everything that we like. We like a lot of Slipknot.
Hell yeah! New metal forever, and that's the thing too is. So much new metal and shit. We get a lot of our heavy parts. We try and bring in like the new metal groove.
We actually wrote one of like the dumbest, actual closest probably to real math songs ever that we've written.
Right.
And I mean, we completely forgot the song, but like there was a breakdown in it that was just weird as fuck. Like for what I was playing to it, and then. Second half of the breakdown was straight up fucking like new metal 99 riff. Like it was crazy. It went straight into like fucking like a D-beat mincecore part. It was just ridiculous. But like it was so tight, dude.
All our shit. Like, so back to your previous question about Just like if we're ever gonna incorporate like whatever we're gonna do,
Yes.
like whatever the fuck, like
it depends on the Slipknot we listen to.
Yeah, on the range of how like from 0 to 10, how much Slipknot we listen to, like yeah, it's gonna get
during practice. We'll be like, okay, we need more Slipknot riffs. Yeah. Like that's a serious thing.
Holy shit. So what about looking forward for, the rest of this year and going into early next year? Because your EP came out, I haven't pulled up here so that, I mean, shit, it really hasn't been out all that long, but are you guys...
How long has it been, actually?
It says, June. I mean, you dropped it like early June, so...
A little bit ago.
Yeah.
It came out forever.
Been a little while.
Yeah. But like, how's it like looking forward to the rest of the? I know you said you're working on. You already have like a new song that you've been playing live, but are you?
Yeah. We have a couple ideas in the works. We have, I think, the new one that we got to run through and name and get all the vocals hammered in. And
we have a split that we're working on with local noise improv like band Christian Lovers. They're like a fucking amazing jazz improv noise band. Like that's how you do justice describing them as that.
I'm actually playing with them tomorrow.
Yeah, he's actually drumming with them.
Oh shit! Okay.
They're good homies. We're doing a split with them, and we're honestly gonna try and experiment with these few songs as much as possible.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be really weird.
You can expect weirder stuff. Like we said, that Subway Vampire like techno-y song is gonna be included. It's gonna be with that.
And we're gonna write like more contemporary, like not contemporary, like more Goshen-ish songs, if that is a really term. Like heavy, more band stuff, but like I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to warp that to a point where it's like, how do you play that live and like just make more of an experience for both Christian Lovers and Goshen rather than it's just like our songs and their songs.
Like that's what's definitely going to be something that's kind of like
else.
You could call it like back catalog because it would be different.
Yeah.
And are you already in the process of you've already written some of the stuff, or are you just trying to find ways to?
That's happening. Yeah.
They've already
finished. We're just
we're lagging. We've been so like out and off and on with shit lately, but
yeah, a lot has happened in the last couple.
Yeah,
months.
What we want to do as soon as the tapes are out, want to do more shows and
for sure.
We plan on setting up like a run of like 4 or 5 shows as soon as we get everything hammered in, all the nails done. But we want to do that, and then I'll probably finish out like a month of 5 shows, and then have like the EP release finally. And we'll do that. And I say finally just because it's been out for so long. Like we wanted to do it almost immediately, but so much shit has happened to like all of us in the past couple of months that it's just been almost impossible to do anything. We're all fucking busy.
Right.
Also like. So we want to do the run of shows and then play the EP release show. And the idea was to we wanted to try and tour this year, and we almost did, but the band we were going to tour with, it was just lack of communication, and we all have fucking full-time jobs, and we have to plan for this shit.
Yeah, and we
really want to do that probably somewhere around hopefully soon next year, or maybe in summer or whatever, spring or something.
Yeah,
we want to do that ASAP though.
Hopefully, maybe up the coast or some shit.
Yeah, maybe
see you.
Maybe up to you.
That would be sick. Sick.
Are you guys? Have you really gone too far outside of? Because I've never been to
California.
What were you saying?
No, how are you? Have you? So you guys have pretty much just been playing locally for the most part, Are you? But you're thinking of maybe going up the West Coast and trying to. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. We want to try and do a long weekend or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be. I mean, Mitch has toured before, but I haven't. I've done one-off noise fests out of state, not like a tour.
He flew to the coast not too long ago.
But yeah, I played Michigan for Detroit Midwest Harsh Fest. But yeah, nothing tour wise, and especially with the band. You know what I mean? I'm trying to drive around with the homies and starve and play shows and not have money for gas.
I don't I don't know what we'll eat once we run out of Del Taco. So,
yeah, dude. When we Del Taco, the local area, and there's no Del Scorcho. How am I even going to sustain myself?
Asked me. He's like, since you want to tour so bad, what are you going to do when you starve to death because there's no Del Taco? I don't know, fucking die, I guess.
Every interaction that we have together as a band, any show, any fucking
Del Taco
hangout,
is
Del Taco is always a part of it. We need to get sponsored, but
I mean,
if you guys are listening, I would wear a Del Taco shirt live.
I will
I'll wear the hat. You know what I mean? Like
Orange Sun to Del Taco.
We rep it, yeah.
Or
I'm telling you, Del Taco, like members only fucking varsity jacket.
Dude, right?
I've never come up with like a really good closing question, but I usually try and get some feel for like local bands that you think folks should be listening to just kind of keep that, like just to keep names flowing around so like stuff just doesn't stagnate as much, just kind of sharing around bands that you think people should be giving more love or more attention. Do you have any?
Definitely.
I mean, like we already mentioned, like our buddies, Christian Lovers.
We love those dudes.
Right. Seizures, that I think Joe mentioned earlier.
Ritual Chair.
Yeah. Homie Haley that does Noise Project. Super good. Really emotional stuff that I highly recommend.
It's a great song.
Yeah. Joe will be back in a second, and I'm sure he'll have some shit to say as well.
Our buds in Brain Fragment, they're like a 3-piece, like crazy, like punk improv weird thing going on, like bass. And,
it's bass, drum, and vocals. They've been doing some like collaborations with local like noise guitarists. You know what I mean? They're pretty out there as well. So fuck with Brain Fragment.
What else? I mean,
Soaked in Disillusion.
Yeah.
Those boys are gnarly.
Shout out to Benno.
Yeah.
Is it and just as a more general note, I guess, is that what is the like kind of the overall scene down there in Corona? Is it pretty vibrant with a handful of, like, is there like a certain genre that bands cohere to, or is it kind of like this weird amalgamation of a bunch of different stuff?
Yeah, it's more of a mixed bag of things.
Okay.
Here in Corona, we don't really have a scene out here in Corona.
There used to be, because of Showcase. You know what I mean? Okay. We used to have a shit ton of like thrash and death metal bands in Corona Showcase and shit like that. But like, I feel like that scene isn't as strong as it used to be.
Well, it's a Showcase died.
Yeah,
the whole scene died in Corona.
Much. Corona pretty much barrened out. But I'm at least lucky that we're at least close enough here. We get like we're like an hour from LA.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1.5 to 2 hours from San Diego. We got like Inland Empire shows, like we were talking about the Void and San Bernardino.
Right.
There's nothing like right on us, but we have a bunch of close local scenes. You know what I mean?
Sure. That makes sense.
I'm sure there's plenty more that we're missing. Is there any local bands that you think people should be listening to?
Who's you guys named so far?
We did Christian Lovers, Soaked, Ritual Chair, Brain Fragment,
Seizures.
See
You Space Cowboy, but they're big as fuck.
Oh yeah, See You Space Cowboys.
Letters of Catalonia.
Yeah.
Oof. There's a band. They're not called Vril anymore, and I don't know what they're called now. But look them up, I guess. Yeah. Left Astray, definitely.
Oh, Left Astray is the
Whelm, Deadbeat, Teeth,
Threath.
Who else do I like? Brain Fragment.
Yeah.
Man, there are a lot of, you're naming off a lot of bands. I was not expecting there to be that many.
Yeah. I know, like, seriously, like, a lot of them are, like I said, LA areas, more San Diego area.
Sure.
That's SoCal.
There's probably more that
SoCal 10 Friend. SoCal 10 Friend.
Action Friend's crazy.
Oh, Action Friend is...
That's, like, weirdo fucking... It's like Live by Mistake.
It's Live by Mistake.
It's like jazz, math,
Great Redneck Hope,
shit.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, there's just plenty of really good shit around here. We've had the pleasure to like just share things with like friends and share music and stuff, and yeah, definitely it's hard keeping scenes together and stuff. But we're lucky to have.
There's a lot of good bands, but there's also like a lot of dicks because there's such a little scene.
Yeah.
But like, and there's so many good bands within it that it tends to be very inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it's kind of just like a pain in the ass trying to like meet people because no one wants to fucking talk to you.
I see.
Because they're with their group of people.
Oh yeah.
Like, we're lucky enough that we have this guy who knows everybody.
Yeah.
It's
so hard to fucking talk to
Literally,
people.
he'll be like, "Why are we playing shows?" I'm like, "Why aren't you talking to your fucking friends about it?"
Yeah, trying to make me.
Like, I don't know anyone. I just fucking go to work, drink beer, and play drums. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, we tend to not do anything like a professional band. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we take everything on like the.
I mean, like when we show up to places to play, like don't take that as like. We're not disrespectful, but the way we operate as people in a band is completely ridiculous.
Yeah. I see.
Like we've been planning to have shirts done for like a year, and we just haven't done. Yeah, like shit like that.
Fucking
we're not on the ball.
I think it's like, we're just messes.
Big old messes.
Yeah.
But that comes across in the music, so.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and it's funny that you even mentioned that with the fiasco with the cassettes and how you were talking about all the shit. Like, oh, we're always having bad luck. And then based on what you're saying, it's like, oh, we've been meaning to get shirts and we just haven't done it. And then it's like, oh, we finally got to getting some cassettes and, oh, look, they got fucked up. And it's just like it never seems to work out.
Yeah, dude. No,
we're not surprised.
I'm just like, yeah, all right.
When it came to the shirts thing, I think he couldn't put the money forward because he was going to fly out to the East Coast to do, everything else.
And I was broke as fuck.
He was broke, and so I was going to get paid and buy them. I was going to get the shirts. And then I ended up moving out of where I was living due to like a whole bunch of fucking nonsense. And after that happened, I had to like pay for where I was living. I had to move out. I had to fix my fucking car that happened to get destroyed that weekend. And like I was literally broke as fuck, and I'm still broke. And I'm also saving for shit I've been planning to save for that's coming up like next weekend. So I have to put away all my money for that already. So I've been broke for like 2 months. Yeah, dude. It's just like the fucking the nonsense that is our lives definitely paves the way for us being messes anyway. So it's like a double entendre of like, well, nothing good is going to happen, so let's just one day act irrationally and just get broke again doing something we need to do.
But the takeaway from that is that we have talked about having shirts, so they will exist.
On the right track.
I did the art. The art's all done. Yeah. It's just we just have to buy them.
They'll exist soon. And then the tapes will exist. So
well, are you? I guess just a clarifying bit. Are you hoping to get that split? Is that going to hopefully come out this year, or is that going to be like early next?
I'm thinking early next, but
maybe
if we rush on it and we kick ass, then like maybe by winter. I don't know.
Man, I don't. We're on the ball then. I mean, I think they're just waiting pretty much on us at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Our bad, but we're working on it.
Hopefully by the time this thing comes out, we'll at least have some more shit, you know?
Right.
But, I mean, like, it's been cool. Like, thank you for fucking doing this.
No, I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate your work on the tapes as well.
Oh, yeah. No worries.